items. That's mainly what we do, concrete.
Okay.
So, you know, I mean, guys put a lot, pass the paper around, do whatever. But if you look right here, see parapet concrete, approach slab, what are some of the other things? Deck, barrier wall. These are all the different structures that we're pouring. Some will use the same concrete, some will use different ones. And that's how this gentleman bids the job. We go with these, and we've got to build it and form it and get the concrete in there so he makes money.
So, you want to tell them a little about yourself, Steve?
I'm a union carpenter. Joined the union long before all you were born, I'm sure. So I've been in the union for 37 years, and this is all I've done is concrete work and pile driving. Luckily I still got all my fingers and toes. And it's been a good living, and that's really, there's not much more to say.
Okay.
I can't, it's a young man's business. It gets harder and harder the older you get.
But yeah, so Steve's been a superintendent for a while. You know, as a carpenter, he probably reads plans better than most people in the field, because they have to read the rebar drawings, they have to read the bridge drawings, they got to read the footing drawings, they've got to understand how the steel works. So really in the field, the carpenter is going to know more about the plans than almost anybody else.
And any other trade.
Right.
The ironworkers will come in, they care about tying the rebar and getting away. Like you said, I've got to cover clearances. I'm sure you guys have been through all that and whatnot. So it's, elevations, and there's a lot that goes in to get one of these things out of the ground.
Okay.
And like I say, the old days, all this corrugated decking was all formed with plywood. So that was all a carpenter's job, was to form the decks, and then we'd strip it all down. It's gotten, since labor's gotten expensive, they've come down to this corrugated decking now that the ironworkers will put the decking up. Just took work away from the carpenters that I'm not happy about. But the ironworkers put the decking up, they pour the concrete and stays. What I don't like about the corrugated decking is if you have a bad spot in the concrete, you have no way to tell now. You can't see it, you can't, there's a way you can tap concrete with a hammer and it'll sound hollow, it's no good. Or there's a chain that you hit it with. And with the decking, you're not going to be able to do that. You just hit metal. So you don't know until you're too far gone that you have an issue. So that's what I don't like about the corrugated decking, but everything comes down to dollars and cents. And that's what the state's at right now. Same as this type of stonework you see here. The only concrete you have is from above the stonework. This is all just filled with the pea stone gravel and whatnot, and the bridge is sitting on top of it.
Can you see that from the side, or they backfill all that?
It's all backfilled.
All backfilled, okay.
Years ago, and it's still in a lot of situations, it'll get excavated, they'll drive tile, and we'll start the concrete from below the ground up.
Yeah. Now,
what was I say? I was going to tell you about this. I don't really know what else to really say. Just please ask me questions. It's easier for me to answer questions.
Let's walk down here and take a look at the side, then we'll walk down this way here. What kind of equipment are you using right now, Steve? Those man lifts down there?
Yeah, we've got, the only thing that AFC is using right now are the man lifts.
Yep.
And occasionally OSU will help us out with the forklifts to move some stuff around. That's it.
Okay. Now these are the blocks to build the walls with, correct?
Yes.
So we can go down here and take a look at.
Taking right at them.
So when we look back on the plans and you look, you'll see these little blocks.
To lay a course of block, fill it with the pea stone, like I was saying. Then there's a fabric paper that goes over it. Lay another set of blocks, layer of stone, and it just the fabric paper locks it all together. And that's all there is to it.
That's all it is.
Just sheer mass holds it in place. And they've got to compact the stone to, I believe it's 100% compaction.
I think it's 100%, yeah.
Which is very hard to do with a pea stone because it just keeps wanting to move around.
Yeah.
It's so small and fine.
And then up here on the edge, this is your...
That's our parapet walls. We just finished pouring today. I was talking with a young lady over here. We had a first truck that came in today. The air was high. You've got an air, a slump, and a temperature. You got to check and test. And the air was too high. We tried. Sometimes if you let it sit for a while, the air will come down. We let it sit. It still was out of range, so we had to reject the truck and then order a new one.
Yeah. Okay, so let's take a walk down at the other end. Dude.
This well, there's a sound barrier. I don't have much to do with the sound barrier,
Right.
other than that's all. It's like a fiber concrete, and it's just to block the sound for the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And across our parapet, we've got embedded baskets every 5'6", so they'll be bolting the post on across and put the sound barrier across the bridge.
Okay.
The little bump out you see, I don't know if you see it too well, that's going to be a light stand.
Yep.
And the overhang brackets, that's all an engineered system. So we have to send that out, submit it to the state for approval. And they don't let you vary from it too much.
Okay, so let's take a look down at the other end and we'll take a look at what's going over there. Is this the gravel they were using?
That's the piece.
So this is the gravel they're using to lock, or gravel the
if you take it and you just squeeze it around
stone.
your hand, you see how it just keeps moving. So it's very hard to compact it.
And they don't want
That they were having on this.
Yeah. And this is actually stone and not, I call it gravel, but stone and not gravel. Do you know why they're not using gravel?
I have no idea.
No idea, yeah. Gravel's easier to compact than stone is. So, there's some more of the blocks. How much more time they got building these blocks?
They can't go any further until we strip our brackets.
Okay.
So next week I'll be taking the parapet down.
Yep.
Starting with brackets, and then we're going to get on that.
You see different lines in here from where it was to, you had a couple of different pours here, correct? You see how
the bottom pour, like I said, they did the block work up to
Right.
that elevation. The bottom pour, you see the line.
Right.
That was a Class A concrete.
and
And then from that line above was the rest of the, I'm going to call it the abutment, but it went all the way across to the deck and down the other side, so it locked two other beams in.
so yeah, so they poured the deck, they poured it off the edge, and it covered all the beams up when they were set on the concrete. So it's a little bit different design than they used to have for these.
The other bridges, the beams sit on, one end will be bolted on a bearing,
Right.
and the other end is just on a pad for movement, and you got to form they call it a keeper block. So if we ever do get an earthquake, the beams can't slide off because they're only attached on one end. Here, the beams are all encased in concrete, so they can't go anywhere.
And then looking under here, we're looking at structural steel. These are the girders that go across. Each girder's numbered. Each girder's built special, specific. If you look at the diaphragms that are in the middle, they're bolted together. These diaphragms are part of the structural steel also. And if you notice in the plans, you had one diaphragm that was different. It was like a C-channel, and that's buried inside this concrete. The C-channel diaphragm is buried. You can't see it anymore. But all these other diaphragms, the exposed ones, were built a little bit differently. Yep.
Diaphragm from the stage line. They want to put those diaphragms just talking about.
Over there?
Over there.
Okay.
You have the stage line.
Oh, you can see the diaphragm at the
And
end?
at the stage line, we couldn't put that diaphragm in
Oh, okay.
because there was no way to attach.
Yeah. So after this used to be, what, 30, 40 feet? The highway used to be separated 30 or 40 feet?
Yeah, I'd say about like that. Then they added the lanes.
So now they added the lanes and they pushed them together. So now the highway's really close together. And you can see they're different elevations because of the super elevation, so that the cars will, the direction they travel, it's banked like a racetrack for the amount of speed there is.
and keeps your water
And
flowing.
it keeps your water flowing by the pitch, right?
Those pipes right there, both of those.
Okay, those are weep holes. What happens is condensation, you call it condensation, or some water gets through, huh? Pothole, water will get through the deck, water will get, you know, through the asphalt, through the deck, and then it'll be caught by the weep hole, so it doesn't sit and rot the concrete, it'll drip out. And there's no scuppers on this bridge, right? No scuppers on this bridge, right?
Scuppers. If you notice, there's a 1-inch cork in between the two bridges.
Right.
So each bridge is individual with each other.
So that,
It's just for expansion and contraction.
right, so this whole thing was built separately, and that middle here is different for the bridge. So
You see all this? I'm the old paper and pencil boy. Yeah, he's.
Yeah.
It goes. They take my notes, and like I said, those sheets right there. I send in my quantities every week. So I mean, how many square feet of form work we pour concrete against. This way, Eric can track the time that it costs, and how much it costs the company to get that many square feet of forms done, and that helps him to bid for the next job. And that's, like I said, once the papers leave my hand, it goes to the office, and then they have people a lot better with computers than I am.
ideally, I like to use Procore, and Steve was probably one of the better people at Procore, even from all the younger guys we had, but everybody else just couldn't keep up with it. They couldn't understand it, they didn't want to do it, I don't know what it was, so we had to revert back. To me, you're familiar with Procore?
Yeah.
Yeah, to me I love Procore. It has all